question for you inventors out there. Do you know what the future holds? Well, I don't. But I will say this. It's the seventh annual iCAN Awards. I am so happy that you can be here, possibly to win an award, and also listen to my keynote speech, how to take your big idea and make it a success in a post-COVID world. I'm Mike McFarthing. I'm a director of the Inventors Circle, or the Inventors Initiative, here in Toronto. And I can honestly say, having been involved with Moonsuk Chang since the beginning 7 years ago, it is my great pleasure to speak to you today about a key subject which is near and dear to my heart, and that is social media and how to leverage it to make your big idea a success. Before we get to that, think back to when the COVID situation and pandemic first started. We were told it would be 2 weeks to flatten the curve, at least here in Canada. And we're told that we would just follow the rules, get vaccinated, everything's going to be fine. Well, restrictions were put on place, events were canceled. We're in a situation where they literally, all things kind of stopped. And now they've been lifting. We've kind of gone back to a situation of normal. But I think I could give the analogy of like waves in the ocean. They tend to come in a series or set, and there's a gap in between. Sometimes the gap gets longer. I mean, I think Howard Lim is a surfer. He could actually tell you about surfing, but the gap between waves could look like the water's flat and there's no more waves. But we know another wave is coming, whether it's monkeypox or, COVID 2.7. It's not being so cynical to say you really need to be thinking online. Even if you're acting offline, you need to be thinking about how can I make my big idea happen online in a post-COVID world. Well, I'm going to give you 20 of the best ideas that I have conglomerated over about 25 years of doing marketing, more specifically in the last 10 years of social media. But these ideas, I believe, will help you go a long way to realizing your big idea in a post-COVID world. See me on the inside. Let's get going. Firstly, your social media could be stronger. I know some of you have some pretty awesome social medias, but are you being consistent in your offering? Are you actually engaging with your market or your target audience in a consistent manner? It's no good doing 20 really high quality posts and then having a gap for 3, 4, 5 months. We have to pick a frequency which we can maintain and use that as a way to develop a audience, because people want consistency when they look online. So that'll be number one. Our social media could be stronger. Number two, you need to set goals, realistic goals. Again, remember the acronym SMART: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. We need to have an idea of how much time you want to apply to this effort, and if it even makes sense. If you have a daytime job and you're putting so much time into your invention, do you really have time to do social media? If so, well, then we have to allocate. That'll be number two. We need to allocate resources, time, attention, and money. We have to figure out, what is it we want to do? Well, the social media sounds like it's free. It's not free. You have the learning curve as to what works and doesn't work. You have to maybe spend money even just on clothes. You have the learning curve as to what works and doesn't work. You have to maybe spend money even just on clothes, a good lighting, camera, sound system to ensure that you can give the best quality possible to your audience. So that's number three. Number four, and one of the ones that I think a lot of people overlook, and that is use a VPN. That VPN, if you're not familiar with, is a virtual IP address that allows you to access not just content in your country, but content that might be locked from you in other countries. In addition to that, a VPN will protect your identity online. But one of the biggest uses of VPNs, I think, which is overlooked, is when you make a post and you put it, say, from Iran or Pakistan or China or Indonesia, and you want it to go viral elsewhere in the world, you can change the VPN and upload it as if it was in Canada or the US, and its algorithms will actually treat it as a local piece of content, so you might potentially have more reach. So use the VPN. Number 5, learn about tone, messaging in different platforms. Now, I can't say this enough. If you show up at a pool wearing a tuxedo, you're going to look weird. And if you go to the opera wearing a bathing suit, you're going to look like a weirdo. So each and every platform has a different tone. Twitter is not Facebook. Facebook is not LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not Instagram, and so forth. So before you decide to make content and just put it across platforms, always be aware that the tone and what is appropriate on each platform differs. So learn from this. Number 6, and I can't express this the most, poor audio will kill your message. Think of yourself. If you flicking through on, say, Instagram, and there's no sound, or the sound is garbled, or there's cars driving by, or there's construction sounds, or dog barking in the background, or baby crying, you know what? You move on. So honestly, watch your audio. Make sure your audio quality is as good as possible. It doesn't have to be professional grade, but you do need to make sure that your message is clear, there's not distracting sounds. Number 7, make the background pleasing. I can't tell you how many times people have actually had strange stuff in the background of their videos and they weren't aware, wow, I left my laundry hanging in the back, or I had some distracting picture on the wall, or people are actually commenting on the background rather than the message. So try to take any kind of distraction out of the background. Number 8, make your content easy to understand and share. So try to avoid local slang English. If you English is a little bit weak, or even if your English is really good, but you have a bit of an accent, that's a relative thing, try to put some subtitles and make the subtitles short and stay on the screen long enough that somebody whose English is not their first language can read them. Too many people on Instagram are famous for putting long subtitles that flick. People have to watch the video 3-4 times. People won't do it. If you have links to other articles, post them with the attachment so they're easy to find. People like things that are easy to share and understand. Number 9, I think this goes without saying, be professional. Your lighting, your hair, your clothes, everything has a context, but by and large, if you're trying to promote an invention, it's better that you don't dress too over the top or too casually. You want the message to be around your invention, not you. I mean, unless your invention is you, then yes, then go ahead. Number 10, avoid rambling. We all do it. I'm guilty of it every single day, but get to the point. This happens when you write things down. It makes a huge difference. And please don't mix messages. If you have 3 or 4 ideas to convey, do them in the separate posts, because the people will appreciate this. Unless it's a very long format, like in YouTube, you're doing an hour-long post, fine. By all means, have multiple messages, but it always helps if you can have one solid primary message and stick to that. Number 11, join communities. Again, use the VPN. You can join Canadian communities for inventors like the Inventors Circle or US meetups and participate. By participating, you become known to the local communities and you're more likely to get helpful connections or even ideas that you can apply to your next invention. Number 12, like and follow other people's posts. It's not just about broadcasting, it's about building community. So when you like someone else's posts, they tend to like yours back. If you share something of theirs, they'll probably share yours. Remember, to be interesting, you should be interested. Number 13,
Have dedicated accounts for your invention, especially on the Instagram. Don't have pictures of your cat, your cake, your holiday, and then your invention. Set up an actual account for your inventions, and if you can, share other people, collaborate with other people, because they will share your idea as well. It's essential that you think about the way you like to consume content and kind of replicate that in your content. On that point, number 14, compile competitor information. If there is competitors, look at their feeds. Look at accounts that are growing. Copy what's good. Avoid what's bad. Be innovative. Number 15, collaborate socially with other aligned local content creators. What does that mean? If you have a new toilet brush, you might want to get with somebody who has a new toilet, or somebody who has something to do with bathrooms, and you can collaborate locally, and then together you can increase your reach on the internet. Again, we're looking at possibility where you're not going to be able to travel internationally. This could be an excellent way for you to promote yourselves. Number 16, contests, promotions, and timely offers. Give a holiday discount. Know when your messaging is going to be most received. Think about when you look at content, if you're in Korea, you're 13 hours ahead of North America, then you would have to think about when that content would be consumed. Most likely, always look for the time which is most readily going to be watched. So business-related information on a weekend isn't going to hit as hard as on a Monday. Number 17, this is the one. This is the one I want you to write down. If there's nothing you haven't written down, write this down. Call to action. Your next steps cannot be left up in the air. You need to make them as clear as possible. So if you want people to buy, say so. If you want people to invest, say so. If you're looking for partners, say so. If you're looking for feedback, say so. But don't do them all at once. Too many people make the mistake of saying, hey, do you want to buy one, invest one, and share one? Hey, I'd like your input. It's too much. Keep the message to one of those, but ask. Be sure to have a clear call to next steps. Number 18, participate with your followers. People have taken out the time to watch your content and like it, say thank you. If people have a question, answer it. Too many people lock off comments because they don't want to hear anything negative. Sometimes of the people who say negative things, you can actually make them one of your biggest followers if you respond to them positively and engage with them. People want to engage on social. That's the name of it. Number 19, give value. I can't tell you enough. We live in a world of almost ultimate reach, where you're almost one or two clicks away from some key decision maker, investor, customer. But you know what? We're all spoiled for attention. We're all scrolling through our feeds. If something doesn't either entertain us or inform us in an impactful way, we're just not going to care. So you need to make people care. You need to grab their attention and hold it somehow. So share, and then entertain, and always look to bring value before you ask for something. 20. This one I can't express more other than call to action. 20 is stories over concepts. We remember stories. The human condition is stories. How many of us were heard stories like Little Red Riding Hood? Well, the concept is be wary of strangers. But we all remember the wolf and the three little pigs and all your local stories from your countries. So make a story around your invention. If you have a new idea for a toaster, don't just say, oh wow, it makes toast like this. Have a story when regular toaster didn't work and you came up with this idea and how your new toaster saved the day. Okay? Make it humorous, make it impactful, make the story stick. And my final one, and I can't express this more, and that is be authentic, be honest. Do not overpromise. Always, always try to be yourself as best you can. And finally, when you're sick, you go to a doctor. When you want to get fit, you go to a trainer. So if you just do your goals and realize you won't have the time or you don't have the interest in learning about social, then hire somebody. Get an expert that will bring you far more results in a quicker time than you could ever do alone. So don't be shy to put some money, if you don't have the time, towards your social and make your content as good as possible. I look forward to seeing you in the future. So now that we've gone over the first 20 points, I do really want to tell you a story. The story of Carl the inventor. Once upon a time, there was an inventor named Carl. And Carl had a great idea. In fact, it was a big idea. Dare I even say a huge idea. And when Carl had this idea, it shot electricity through his entire body. He never felt more alive. With this idea, he knew the world could be a better place. His idea being so monumentally special, he thought, I have to protect this. I know that if I get the right people to help me, and the right money behind me, this idea will change the world. That's how big his idea was. So in order to make sure that no one stole his big idea, he wrote it down, folded it over carefully, and found an old tin cigar case and put the inside the tin and put it underneath his pillow. And ever so often, he would take it out, reread it, get that same electric feeling of excitement, put all the things he would do with all the money and fame that would come his way from such a great idea. And then he would tuck it away, put it underneath his pillow, and go to sleep. This went on for quite a while. On occasion, his mother would come into Carl's room to clean and would find the tin and say, "What's in here?" At which point he'd rush in, snatch it from her hands and say, "Mom, this is my big idea. I'm just not ready to show you. When it's ready, you will be one amongst the special few who gets to see it." She'd shrug her shoulders and she'd go on about her business, and he would tuck it back underneath his pillow. In fact, the pillow started to have a worn space on the mattress underneath his head, and every night he would touch it, knowing that it was safe, and he could go pleasantly into his sleep, dreaming about his big idea. Well, one fateful day, Carl met the love of his life, Sheila. Oh, and what a wonderful lady she was. And Carl and Sheila couldn't have been more happy together. In fact, Carl felt, as time went on, that he loved her. He didn't just like her, he loved her. And since he loved her and he trusted her completely, he thought, this is one person that I can share my big idea with. So one day, sitting her down, Carl went to his room and retrieved the little box, brought it in, sat down next to her and said, "Sheila, I love you, and you alone are lucky enough to actually hear my big idea." Well, she had never met someone so amazing and interesting as Carl, so his big idea must be truly amazing. So opening the little tin, with a reflection from the sun sparkling off its lid, he carefully took out the folded piece of paper and handed it over to Sheila. Sheila, in nervousness, took it like a sacred document, standing up and opening it. She began to read. As she read, her eyes narrowed. All of a sudden, her eyes flung wide open. Her body started to shake. Suddenly, uncontrollably, she started to laugh. Belly groaning laughs. At which point, Carl stood up. What are you doing? How could the love of my life be betraying me so? How could the idea, my big idea, make you laugh?" She turned, grabbing him Holding and steadying herself from her laughter, she got her composure. Sheila said, Carl, don't you know this already exists? It's been on the market for about 10 years. At which point, Carl said, What? Carl, when did you have this idea? He slumped back into the chair and said, 15 years ago, I had this idea. Oh, she fell to her knees, embracing him on his lap, and said, Oh, my poor love, Carl. Don't you know that if you had taken it to market, it would have been yours? Your great idea would have been yours. You would have been rich and famous. But you know what, Carl? You can have other ideas, bigger ideas, better ideas. Carl, sadly sighing, You know, Sheila, I just don't think I could do this again. Standing up, Sheila said, Carl, you're not going to do this again. You're going to take your idea and you're going to put it on social media. You're going to get your idea out as soon as possible. You're going to change the world. So guys, don't be like Carl. Be like Sheila. Get your idea out on social media. Take the 20 points I've given you and make the world a better place.
So I'm so glad that you stayed to the very end. You know what? Just a bit of fun on this talk, but remember those 20 points. Try to get out there and make the world a better place. Think social in this post-COVID world. I know your big idea can become a reality. And don't be like Carl, be like Sheila. Make things happen. And also a call to action. Hope that you will join us. The link after to come to one of our meetings here at the Inventors Circle. Start back up in September. See you then. Have a great day.